Thank you so much, Stephen. I do hope that I will meet your expectations and all of us will meet your expectations regarding the very exciting presentation. So we actually prepared a piece where you can try yourselves as our students and take a moment to feel yourselves as participants of the quest. But first things first, let me introduce myself and my wonderful team who joined today to present the quest. So I'm Maria Tsipyashuk, and it's a good try you didn't try to pronounce my surname because it's sometimes complicated even for Ukrainians, so no worries. And I have Andriy Dovichenko, Anton Lobov, and Valentina Humenna. They represent the team who actually created the whole inside and the tech side of the anti-corruption quest, which we conducted from basically April 2023. And it still is going on with our trip to Dublin with the winners, but I will tell about this later. So I won't take their bread and I will let them explain what they have to in their own words. And I think they will actually describe what they were particularly responsible for. But I'll just say that without them, none of this would happen. So let's go with the presentation. I don't want to steal much time. And actually, we decided to make something really exciting for the students to live through the practical situations of what bribe, of what corruption can be in the educational environment. And next, I'll just explain what will happen within this few next minutes. We will try to speak not longer than 30 minutes as it was planned, but also as we plan to let you play a little bit. So maybe it will take a few more minutes, and then just for the questions, which hopefully you will have in the end. So first of all, we will explain where the idea comes from, how we were trying to build this journey from the very beginning and until the end. What was the focus of this, then what formats and what actually was set within the scope of the anti-corruption quest, and how the logic was built around that. And you will also meet and get acquainted with our quest characters, which I hope will be particularly exciting for you and interesting. And then, as I said, you will try the quest and we will discuss any aspect which will be interesting for you. Next, please. So the idea, we were building our quest not just on the mere like fresh idea or out of nothing, I mean, the quest was built out of scratch, but there was some research behind it and underlying. So the Association of Legal Clinics of Ukraine, which I basically represent, works with the idea and with the issue of anti-corruption in higher education for 4 years now, I think. And a couple of years ago, we conducted the strategic research of corruption risks in higher education with the National Agency for the Prevention of Corruption. So it was like on the sort of state level, but in cooperation with civil society, which we appreciated a lot. And then when we had this analytical report, it also contained some recommendations and some analysis of the reasons why corruption happens in the higher education institutions. We decided that that was a good time to actually involve and engage students into detecting, understanding what corruption is, because in many cases it's not so manifestal and it's not so obvious as it might seem. So corruption is much more than just giving a bribe for a good mark or good grade or whatever, and it relates to many processes which are going on in the educational institutions. So this is why we decided to involve students, but we did understand that we cannot keep them for a long time involved if we just use very ordinary methods and very ordinary approaches. So when we were planning for the next project with our team inside of the Association of Legal Clinics of Ukraine, we first we're thinking about some school, like some training course, but then it pretty quickly shifted to the idea that we need to think of something else. So the next slide. Here we came to the understanding that we need to combine our traditional classical approaches, like to keep the educational component in it, so that there was some pedagogy, good pedagogy behind, but also to make it interesting and to involve some technologies, some entertainment into this process. And this is why we used, as you can see, the list of some applications, of some software, and my colleagues will tell about this. I wouldn't just read out what is on the screen because it's obvious. But here I will actually give the floor to my colleagues from Bot and Partners company. So this is an amazing creation in Ukraine, not entirely of lawyers. For example, Anton is not a lawyer, but they are doing amazing things to promote clear language for the lawyers so that other humans will actually understand what lawyers speak about and what they do. So here and we cooperate with Bot and Partners for quite some time. So Anti-Corruption Quest was not just the very first initiative which we conducted together. But with Anton and Valia, it was the first one. So I give the floor to Anton to continue with explaining what Quest was.
Yeah, hello there. My name is Anton, and my part is next. And today I'd like to tell you about the online part of our quest and what we're thinking as a whole about this quest, about the thing. Um, yeah, Maria already expressed it in the last slide. So our main idea was to make this online part of the quest technological, entertaining, educational, and engaging. And to our surprise, we really did manage to do that. And how? Well, let's dive in and find out on the next slide. So, our project was first and foremost the chatbot. Why the chatbot? Because uh, everyone in Eastern Europe, to my knowledge, uses Telegram Messenger. So it's the most used messenger in Eastern Europe. Each and every student has Telegram for personal communication, and sometimes even some online classes were given through Telegram. So, in order to make things easy for them and less expensive for us, we decided to make our project in a chatbot. And well, as it was a chatbot, it was kind of easy to implement all the features in it. So some features like tests on how to fight some cases of corruption, the most widespread cases. Then lectures from people from important anti-corruptional institutions such as the National Anti-Corruption Bureau or High Anti-Corruption Court of Ukraine. Some we invited some guests from those institutions, and they told us and our students some insights on how they handle it. And then there was a story mode, which, in my opinion, was a pinnacle of our anti-corruption quest because it was based on dialogue-like video games. We'll surely talk about that later. It's just, in my opinion, the most important part of our quest. And finally, there was a lot of communication. We held a lot of communication with our students because, well, if you leave them with no clues, no understanding how to do any sort of tasks, they will quickly uh, abandon you. They will quickly abandon our product. And that was not the thing we wanted them to do. So then to the next slide, please. Yeah, this slide is basically all screenshots. The left one is a screenshot, is compiled of the screenshots of some lectures from those institutional people. As a person without any, and I must underline any law background, for me, at least at first, those were just very important people from very important institutions, and it was really amazingly interestingly to watch them to see them in the same Zoom room as me. And for many students, it was the same. It was their first chance to see them, their lot, not on just some video of them or on the news when those guys would find some corrupt politician or corrupt some, I don't know, some any other person. No, they were in the same Zoom room or Google Meet room, and there was a really important chance of meeting them directly and asking them all the questions, all from all the spheres they wanted, right? And the other two screenshots are from tests. Here you can see that our tests weren't just as simple as simple multiple choice answer tests. It was because Maria was closely working on them. And you know, as you know, Maria, if you know Maria, you would know that those tests sometimes were difficult and sometimes even extremely difficult. Uh, Certainly for me, they were. And finally, please to the next slide. Yeah, there was a story mode, which was, the main reason, the main attraction for the students in this quest. In order to make the story mode, we invented a whole story, which I suppose is about 200 pages in Google Docs. The whole story was based around Vinnytsia Shipbuilding Institute and cases of corruption in it. Uh, some important piece of information: Vinnytsia is real, but Vinnytsia Shipbuilding University isn't. And so we made up a whole university and a whole set of stories about university. Um, the whole deal with VSI, VSU was the fact that it looked like lots of popular higher educational institutions in Ukraine, where, the facade is cool and it's supposed to be great and one of the best places in Ukraine to study, but still there are lots of cases of corruption on like annual basis, on like even daily basis in some cases. And unfortunately, no one cares, really. And that's a reality that many of our participants faced in the universities. So we wanted to teach them how to fight the situation, how to be strong when you see lots of corruption going on in your educational system, especially when you're bright and idealistic in your first years uh, your higher educational institution. So we made up VSI and its characters. And those are the main characters of our story. This is next. Yeah, meet the characters. First one is Kindrat. Kindrat is a first year boy. He's taciturn, he's phlegmatic, he's principled. The whole character is like Ryan Gosling from Drive movie, so really calm and quiet guy, something up his mind. Yeah, so really serious 16-year-old guy. So the next one is Aurora. On the contrary, Aurora is curious, cautious, and kind. She express herself to the world very brightly, and once she discovers, then, well, unfortunately, there are lots of cases of corruption in the place she really wanted to study. Well, she was really disappointed, and then she was angry, and then she decided that she should fight it. And the last one of our main heroes is Haritina. Haritina is a fourth year student. She is hot headed, she is protective of her friends, but the most important thing, she is really tired of all the stuff that's going on in Venice Shipbuilding Institute. She is really tired. She saw lots and lots of corruption cases. And she decided then in her final year, she can finally do something about it. She can do something to stop it. So she joins forces with Aurora and Kindrat, and all three of them are our main characters, which go from, please to the next slide, from, you see, bottom violet point to the top black point. So basically, this is what our story mode looks like as a whole. Each circle on the right is some corruptional situation that we wanted our participants to see, to watch, to experience, in a good way. Yeah. All of those situations were different, but still they were all connected in one big story with a start, with a beginning, and with an end. So it's one big story with three main characters. We divide it into multi-story parts, which means that we gave the parts one by one to our participants. For example, we gave first part at the beginning of May, and then on the next week we gave the second part, which lasted for 2 weeks, and then for the next couple of weeks we gave third part, and so and so. So parts like 3 and 5 had some cases that were available at the same time. Yeah. So quests listed were available at the same time, and they were not interconnected. Those were like parallel stories, and they led to some consequences which were shown in the next part. Then I want to speak a bit about Harry Potter principle. No, 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 no. Please come back. I want to speak about a bit about Harry Potter principle, which means that the beginning of the quest. The first two parts are really bright. Are really yeah. It's an anti-corruption quest, but the first two parts are really okay. So first year students battling corruption, easily winning, and so on. Yeah, that's okay. But the last two parts are really, really grim, dark, and gloomy. And by doing that, by making it in such a way, we wanted to express that, well, fighting corruption, you may find yourself in a really difficult situation, and if you begin to fight, you should do it till the end and go through all the difficult things, right? And now there were main quests and side quests. Side quests are drawn in light gray on our scheme. The main idea of side quests was to uh, for the participants to earn some additional points, yeah, they would go for it. But as it turned out, all of the participants went to those additional points. They were like, yeah, yay, easy points. And yeah, they did it because they really had this exciting, motivating idea behind the whole quest, because we teased that the winners of the quest would go to Ireland to some training or something. I still don't know. Yeah, and that was a highly motivational thing for them. And the last thing that Valia will talk about later is two black dots, two black circles, which show two group tasks. Yeah, we made some group tasks to teach them work in groups. That's important, but Valia will tell you about that later and in more detail. Next thing I want to talk to you about are the quests themselves. The scheme on the right is a basic scheme, a basic skeleton of any of our quests. This one is, I suppose, from second quest. Um, they were also, all the skeletons were also made in Figma, and there are some things I want to underline that we did to them. Firstly, different paths in the quests led to different outcomes. Not always, but in general. That was made to show up that each your each step, not only in fighting corruption but in education, means something, really means something, whether you decide to befriend that person or not, whether you decide to fight to the end or not. Yeah, that all matters. Then there were lots of false easy ways, which means that almost at each step, which people had, which our participants had, there was really sneaky, easy way, which was whispering like, "Yeah, could we please stop for a bit? I'm tired, and I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't pursue that. Maybe we shouldn't pursue all that ideology, and we shouldn't pursue all that rightfulness and so on." Yeah, there were easy ways because you know. Um, in real world, you may challenge some source like that as well on your each step. Then there were randomizers or dice added on the way because they were added in order to show the people that sometimes the situation does not depend on you. Sometimes the situation is purely random, or at least not up to you, right? So, fate maybe, but not up to you. Then there were illustrations for everything. Yeah, you see those little gray diamonds under each circle? Yeah, that was the marker that we have an illustrations for them. We made all the illustrations for the quest in Mid-Journey. Right now, in November 2023, all those artificial intelligence things are marked, are heavily discussed. There are ethical battles about whether we should use them or not. But back then, when we just were making that quest, there was nothing like it. And the artificial intelligence things were just means of getting some of showing some new technology to our participants, to students, to show that they could use it, to show that it could be done easily and fun and well, uh, colorfully. By the way, it wasn't easy. It was fun, yeah, but generating so much pictures in Midjourney wasn't fun. And they finally they were resource-based paths, so that the participants could choose what tone of voice would they like to go with in some situations. What do I mean exactly? For that, we should go to the next slide, where I want to talk to you about story mode resources. How at the beginning of the quest, we thought about how we could motivate all the participants to uh, participate in the quest, right? So we had this trip to Dublin, yeah, lots of cool stuff, but we needed some points they could earn to have them look at and to understand how well they behaved. Yeah. And in order to do that, we made 4 resources that they could earn at the end of the quest, and basically at 50% of the uh, of the turns of the quest. So as you can see on that screenshot, those characteristics, those resources are connections. Is how well you find friends, or how well are you to um, can you befriend a person even if it's if it's I don't know, a teacher or lecturer or whatever. Then there is a core or ideologism, which is, you know, your purpose of going to the end in, you know, your fight for corruption. And we gave uh, our most of the points to this resource. Then there was this manipulation thing, which we added in order to show that, well, uh, when you're pursuing some idea, uh, manipulations are okay. And, you know, please understand me correctly. It's just my thinking that any communication has some sort of manipulation, because if you want to achieve something, you kind of want to manipulate sometimes in a bad way and sometimes in a good way. So we try to put all that thoughts in manipulations results. And then there is wit. There is just attention, when you just try to find some documents uh, in a shelved cabinet, and yeah, you turn your attention and you think about where there they might be. Yeah. And this was also an important resource. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is the results of the online part in numbers and figures. This one would be quicker, I guarantee. So please uh, do not wait. So we had around, not around, but exactly 167 students registered in the quest. Then we had um, 85 students who passed at least one test. So half of them unfortunately abandoned the test, but still half of them stayed with us. Then we had 80 students who passed at least one story mode, and then we had 56 students with at least some low background registered. We thought it might be more difficult for students without low background, and it turned out that it was, as for an offline part, only one team had people not from some law faculties, unfortunately. So yeah, maybe next time we should think about it more. Next, please. We had 42 teams registered. Then we had representatives from 32 higher educational institutions uh, who took part in the anti-corruption quest. What's funny is that almost half of the teams which got to the offline part were from one university, from Kharkiv Yaroslav Mudry University. Yeah, that was fun, but still we had representatives from 32 universities. And then that's all. Yeah. So I think Andrei should talk a bit about the back end of the quest and how it went. Thank you.
Hey everyone, yeah, I'm gonna do this real quick. So basically, what Anton showed where with the Figma file. So this is the quest structure and how it works in the head of like those who's planning the quest and organizing this information. So then we need to pass over that information to the developers to actually make the quest structure in terms of software. So this is more or less what it looks like internally in the quest structure for one of the quests in the backend. And the tool we're using is essentially a low-code development tool called Corzoid. It was developed in for banking initially, and then for like internal operations and helps connect various APIs and other tools to each other. But it's also possible to make like decent chatbots using it. It's not the easiest tool to do. It's not the most user friendly, but we had some great developers working on it, so we decided to use it. So basically, this would allow us to connect all kinds of information, plus like do some calculation. Because let's say we need information about students and what points they have and how many and so on, and to carry out that information for the whole systems. So that helped us do this. So basically, the process that we went through, Anton and Valentina would create this Figma plan and a small mind map with all the text, and then we would carry over those texts to a tool like this. I think there are a few more photos for that. Yeah, and we decided to use this type of structure because another option would be like building an app or something like that, which is pretty prohibitively expensive. And this way, it works pretty well with like some relatively complex features and being able to like push videos or push pictures and links, communicate with like different segments of people, and create like this more pretty fancy quest structure. And so I think the total of what we did in terms of like developer expense would go something like in a few $1,000s instead of like dozens and dozens that would be usually spent on like application building. So yeah, that's more or less thing we did with the backend. Yeah, some quests would look like this basically. It's pretty complicated and but it works really relatively well for uh, such complex cases where you have like options where you can go A, B, C, D, and then if you can go from A, you go to another A, B, C, and so on. So it's kind of like expands and becomes more complicated. Yeah, so it's my time in this, and I'd be happy to answer a question as you have on the tech side more. But basically, yeah, we used Corzoid and we used Telegram, and we also can use this tool to provide like a web interface with the buttons, with pictures, and so on and so on. So it could work essentially as a widget on a website as well. So yeah, that's my part.
Okay, thank you. So I'll continue. Basically, my part is about group tasks. And yeah, besides regular online schedule, we had two big group tasks. They are a bit different, like in the mechanics. We use the chatbot just to send the task and the requirements, like criteria and everything. And later on, students use Google Doc mostly to present their solution. Well, the idea was to complement the scenario with the broader assignments than just tests and quests. And we didn't limit them in using like any tools. So they were creative, and they additionally visualized the roadmaps, table, charts, and they were creating the presentations. Well, sometimes there was a task like to create a well-structured algorithm. So they were generating many ideas and visualized a lot, of course. The first group task was about hidden conflict between university faculty and cohort of our active characters. And our students had to manage this situation like in both ways, like traditional and creative one. From the traditional part, they had to file some applications to the faculty, negotiate these issues with the dean, speak up about the situation, gather the student government to seek protection for the students. And from creative side, they had to pay attention to the issues like in any way they can. Of course, it should be legal. So here we didn't limit them in any ideas, but we suggested, well, we required to fill the SWOT analysis to make their ideas feasible. I must say that not all of the ideas were ready to implement or possible to implement, but at the same time, we were giving the appropriate feedback for that. Yeah, this is about the first task. Second one was like at the end of the program, and if the first task was about kind of no direct evidence in this conflict, so the conflict was hidden. The second task was about real threat. Here we have Hratina, our character, and she was expelled from the university for her activities right after, like right before 1 month before her graduation, before her final exams. So our students had to create a roadmap and provide Haratina with first legal aid, how it works like in Ukraine, using all our state bodies for that. And also they were creating like the map of civil society institutions, so they could facilitate the problem in any possible ways. And the idea here, like it was the most important thing to show that in real life they also have some ways and features how to deal with the problems. From the technical perspective, it was really like not the case with the chatbot, because if we use a chatbot and test, for example, the chatbot could revise the test like in a minute for hundreds of tests or something. But here we needed a week, a bunch of people, and we were assessing it according with criteria and trying to make it unbiased, transparent, and well structured. So it was about this part. It was a bit different from the whole like chatbot thing, but it was also important to make broader assignments to our students. Okay, next my part is about offline show. We were really happy that we managed to make it offline in person, just because it wouldn't be so good if it was just like, in front of the screens. So we had like 3 days. On the first day, our students were really running. They had a quest, and they were gathering pieces of information in order to create like a brief for the whole story, what's waiting for them in the following day. In the evening of the first day, they also had like a little workshop with our detectives, who were giving little hints and clues how to organize some criminal procedures. So it was it for the first day. The second day was fully intensive one, just because they were making many legal procedures according to the criminal procedural code of Ukraine, and they were really exhausted but happy at the same time. So every time they had 30 or 40 minutes time slot, and they were conducting an appointment with a whistleblower, then preparing him or her to the conversation X, right, with a person who may give a bribe to that whistleblower. Then they were preparing for some court conduct. And at the end of the day, it was the most exciting part. They had a mock search and seizure. You can see these pictures on the left. So as we found it later, yeah, it was the most exciting thing of the day. The last day, what we had, you can see on the right. So we had like a moot court, very simplified one. So our students were acting as a on a defense side, and they were trying to impose the preventive measures to the accused person, and we had two judge panels. So we tried to listen to everybody fastly again in 40 minutes time slot. So those 3 days were fully packed with tasks, but we still believe that our students had some time to talk with each other, just because we had some evening reflections and even morning exercises. So it was really nice offline meeting. And here I'd like to tell you more a bit about our pros and cons, what we found like good and bad. We were running like the feedback pools, but here is personal our reflection and like feeling what we've done good and bad. So what we are proud of. First of all, the stories, all stories are real, and unfortunately, every student at least once faced with corruption, potential corruption situations, and everything. Then all state bodies representatives from anti-corruption field joined our event, and it was one of a kind because we gathered everybody, and it was a really valuable experience for our students. Third thing is targeted audience. We've targeted the quest for students of all majors, not just law students only. So there were like artists and math and some science majors as well. And finally, in red, what we found went not as well as we planned. Duration. We interpreted both ways. From one side, it had to be a long run, and it was a long run, but at the same time, not so many people could make it till the end. Also, time management thing. We were planning to launch two more tests and quests. Unfortunately, we didn't, and maybe just like for the future, we will try to launch when at least half of content is already prepared before the launch. So it's just like some thoughts. And communication strategy, what was the problem here? We were covering like the first task of the quest, the end, how it's going, and the finish. But at the same time, our quest was super detail oriented, and we didn't show it up. So it was like a big lose, I would say, just because we were using memes and different like language. We were trying to find some examples from the pop culture, but we didn't talk about it to the broader audience. So I think we missed a lot from this perspective. So yeah, that's it for me, and thank you for listening. Maybe Maria
Fine.
will join.
So, yep, I'll conclude for hopefully very briefly. I know we are talking for a long time and exceeded a bit. So if you just may take the next slide. I was thinking about like how to put in short the main deliverables of the quest. As long as we planned, to make the educational thing from one side, and it was such an experimental journey for all of us. So what we started at the beginning, we had no clue what we will come up with in the end. And I think it was like, I am actually proud of this. I have like the feeling on the feedback from our students and the judges and everybody who was involved really proves that we hopefully achieved our goals, and the students definitely gained knowledge and experience out of what they were doing. They maintained wonderful professional ties because, for example, when they saw some detective prosecutor of the specialized prosecutors anti-corruption office, or the person from the high anti-corruption court of Ukraine, or National Anti-Corruption Bureau, which many students are like, worshiping, I guess, in Ukraine. And then later they meet these persons, these detectives, prosecutors in person for 3 days, and they go shoulder by shoulder with them. They can talk to them during the lunches, coffee breaks. They sort of go through the simulation of the search and some procedural things. That was, I think, was invaluable. And following that, we also gained some opportunities for the students to go through the externships or internships within the these anti-corruption institutions. I think it was actually the first time in Ukraine when we connected all of the state anti-corruption agencies together, like the whole architecture on the state level who are dealing with anti-corruption in different dimensions. So the students, our participants, they gained multiple choices for the internships and many other activities to be involved at or in. And we can see that they are highly motivated to fight corruption, because we can see now that they are posting, taking part in anti-corruption moot courts, in some essays, research, so many more activities, and we hope that that was a good push for them to that. We are hoping that it also helped them to expand horizons, and now we are going to Dublin for another week with the winners, with the winning team, and we will have the whole week of visits with the anti-corruption bodies, entities, institutions in Ireland. And of course, we are now looking forward to holding the quest to to the second version of this quest, so the continuation. We have nothing yet. I mean, we do not have any resources, we don't have the funds. It's just an idea, because we are still like finishing with this one and following it up, but we do hope that it will survive. And now we actually plan and suggest that you try. So let's go to the next slide. You can take your smartphones. If you need the link directly, I can send it to you on a chat. Just one moment. Let me see where I can get it. But you may start with scanning. So just try
So
this.
Maria, I'm just going to pop in if you don't
Yep.
mind. We've only got 10 minutes
Sure.
left. So perhaps
Yes,
what I might
okay.
suggest is that we can send this round if you would like, for people to have a try afterwards, and maybe we could take a couple of questions for
Sure.
the last 10
It
minutes.
was
I'm
actually
sure.
the idea that you may open it and you may like simultaneously go with questions. Maybe if you like go through the